So let's take a look at this problem. So it says find three solutions for the linear equation of 8x minus 4y is equal to 8. And then it wants me to plot the solutions on a coordinate plane. So down below, I do have a coordinate plane. And I also notice that in this problem, I have this table. So I'm guessing that it wants me to fill out the rest of this table to find my ordered pairs in order for me to plot on the coordinate plane. However, I do notice that this table is missing all of my y values. So I'm going to have to figure out my y values using that equation. By doing that, I'm going to be substituting the things I do know. Just like we did in the first Think Aloud, I'm going to be substituting, and it looks like I'm only going to be substituting all of my x values because it's given on this table. I'm going to be grabbing this first x value, and I'm going to be substituting all of my x values in this equation with the number 2. So I have 8. I know x is going to be substituted with the number 2. And then I have minus 4y is equal to 8. Now that kind of reminds me of what we were doing in our last module of solving for y or solving for a variable. So the very first thing I want to do is actually simplify. So I know I could simplify 8 times 2, which gives me 16. I didn't do anything to this negative 4y, so I'm going to drop it down. I didn't do anything to this 8, so it also drops down. My goal is to get y by itself, so I'm going to move that constant over. And the constant is this positive 16. And I want to take the inverse operation, so I know I'm going to be minusing 16 on each side. That does eliminate. I'm left with negative 4y is equal to negative 8. Remember, my goal is to get y by itself. So I know if I have a negative 4 next to a y, those are multiplying. The inverse operation of multiply is to divide. I'm going to be dividing by this negative 4 because I want to cancel it out. So I'm going to be dividing by negative 4 on each side. That eliminates, and I'm now left with y is equal to negative 8 divided by negative 4 does give me a positive 2 back. So I know in this table, I'm going to get 2 as my output. What I did, I substituted in with the value that's in the table, just the number 2 into the equation, and then I just solved for y in order to know what my output is going to be. So I'm going to be doing the next number. I'm going to erase what's here so that I have a clean space. Now that I have a clean space, I know I want to find out what my y value is if I were to substitute in 4 into the equation. So I'm going to grab that equation again. For every x I see, I now get to substitute in with the number 4. And I am now ready to solve for my y. The very first thing I see is parentheses, so I know I'm multiplying 4 times 8 does give me 32 back. Everything else is going to drop down. And I need to get y by itself. I'm going to move my constant over, which is that positive 32. It now turns to a negative 32. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. This does eliminate, and I'm going to be left with negative 4y is equal to negative 24. And my last thing to do, negative 4 and y are next to each other. When they're next to each other, they are multiplied. The inverse operation of multiply is to divide. So I'm going to be dividing by that negative 4 to each side. So that does mean that y is equal to 6. So it means if we had the input of 4, my output would be 6. So I'm not going to be working out the very last one. However, if I were to plug in the number 8 into the equation, I know the answer is going to be 10. So I do have this table right here. As a reminder, tables do give ordered pairs. Remember, all of my ordered pairs have an x, comma, y. So I know that first point is going to be at 2, 2. The second point is going to be at 4, 6. And then my last point is going to be at 8, 10. So I know those are going to be points on the graph. I'm not going to be graphing this. I'm just going to assume that you know how to. And I'm going to be looking for that in your UDO.